Good morning student. I Purnima welcome you to my video class, and today I'm going to continue the same lesson, the Happy Prince. Children, before moving further to continue this lesson, I will be revising the important point what we have done yesterday. So the Happy Prince was written by Oscar Wilde. His full name was Oscar Fingal O'Flaherty Wills Wilde, and he was born on 16th October 1854, was an Irish poet and playwright. After writing in different forms throughout the 1880s, he became one of London's most popular playwrights in the early 1890s. His story, The Selfish Giant, is also very famous, and many other famous stories are written by him. So, children, The Happy Prince is a wonderful allegory that is packed with valuable themes such as social injustice, judging a book by its cover, the disparity between the poor and the wealthy, loss of innocence, sacrifice, love, empathy, and compassion. And now I would like to tell you what is an allegory. An allegory is a story or a poem or a picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. So children, The Happy Prince is an allegory. Okay, it brings out the importance of charity and kindness. We learn that love and sacrifice can endear us to God. The prince in the story is no living prince. He is the statue of a dead prince, decorated with gold stone and precious gold leaves and precious stone. He is known as the Happy Prince because there is a smile on his lips, but the smile gradually gives way to tears. The Happy Prince cannot help crying over the scene of misery in the house of poor in his own city. He decided to help them with his gold leaves and expensive or valuable stones. A little swallow who had flown it from Egypt break his flight and take rest at the feet of the Happy Prince. The little bird acts as his messenger, and he gives away all his wealth. The swallow was on his way back to his homeland when the prince had detained him to help the poor. He will wish to go back, but now it was too late. Prince had detained him to help the poor. He still wished to go back, but now it was too late. The intense cold had killed the bird. Thus the little swallow lost his life while helping the poor. His death broke the prince's heart, so the swallow and the prince perished for a noble cause. But their death was not the end. It made them immortal. That is why the angels selected the dead swallow and the lifeless heart of the prince as the noblest thing on earth. The story teaches us a very useful and true lesson. We learn that God loves those who love their fellow human being. So this story touches the softest corner of our heart, a prince who remains happy in his palace when he is alive but feels sorrowful after death. His statue is placed in the center of the city. He is a kind-natured prince, so he wants to help the poor and the needy. Oscar Wilde's other story, as I told you, is The Selfish Giant, is also very interesting. Now children, I would like to tell you once again the important points. First is statue of a prince, which is stood in the center of the city. It was covered with golden leaves and two sapphire fitted in his eyes and a ruby in his sword hilt. The prince looked around and found the poor miserable condition. He wanted to help them but was helpless. Now children, said swallow's rest. One night a swallow happened to rest at the prince's feet, but prince's tears fell on him as the prince was crying because he was seeing the misery of his own city. Swallow was surprised on looking above his head, and he found that tears were not coming. It was not the raindrop, it was the tears coming from the eyes of the statue of the Happy Prince. The swallow was going to Egypt to meet his friend, but on Prince's request he had stayed there. Now Prince asked him to help him. He told the sailor to take out the ruby from his sword hilt and go to an old seamstress who needed money for his son who was ill. He wanted oranges, but his mother could not afford it. She was not having the money. So he told the sailor to give away the ruby to that person, to that mother whose child was very sick. The sailor flew to her, placed the ruby on the table, fanned the sick son off, and flew back to the prince. The next night, the prince requested the sailor to pick out one sapphire from his one eye and take it to playwright, who was unable to complete his play because of too much cold. The sailor flew to the playwright and placed the sapphire on the withered violets. The playwright's eyes fell on the sapphire. He was happy that he would be able to complete his play. The sailor flew back. Now, children, and the sapphire to the match girl was given. The happy prince thanked him and requested again to go to the square at below where a little match girl was standing. Her matches had fallen in the gutter. She was crying. Her father would beat her not for bringing money. He asked the sailor to take another sapphire from his second eye and fly to the match girl to give it to her. The sailor flew to her, placed the jewel in her palm, and come back. The girl felt very happy. Worship to the poor. Now the sailor decided not to go to Egypt. The prince asked him to go, but he refused because the prince had become blind and the sailor did not want to leave that happy prince. The sailor now went to the city lanes every night, noted the miserable condition of the poor people, and reported the matter to the prince. He asked him to tear off the gold sheet of his body, leaf after leaf, and give it to the poor children so that their hunger was satisfied. The sailor did as the prince had told him to do. Death of the sailor. The little sailor grew older and older but did not leave the prince. He knew that he was going to die, so he lay at Prince's feet. The prince asked him to kiss on his lips. I love you, he said. The sailor told him that he was going not to England, Egypt, but to the house of death, which was cut, and suddenly the sailor fell down at the prince's feet. A crack burst in his statue and was cut into two. Demolition of the statue was there now. Next morning, the mayor and the town councillor looked at the statue and ordered for his demolition because of its shabby looks. They saw the dead bird also lying at his feet. Birds should not be allowed to die there, town clerk said. Both were in heaven now. The statue was pulled down. It could neither be melted nor broken, so it was thrown on a dust heap where the dead swallow was also lying. The writer wanted to show that both remained together even after death. God said to his angel, which are the two most precious things in this city? The angel replied was the little bird and the happy prince. Send them to heaven, said God. So you can see, children, that how Happy Prince was a beautiful statue, was covered with gold, and he had sapphire for eyes. And children, he want to part with all the gold that he had and his precious stone just to help other. Okay, so now I will be reading I've already read the first part of the lesson. Now we are here in page number 29, paragraph 2. We were doing paragraph 2. Children, the bird came. She saw a beautiful golden bedroom, which was really a statue of the prince. The sailor sat there, and suddenly she felt that the water drops were falling on him. She was surprised at how a rainfall is there without a cloud. In the sky, the stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining. Then another drop fell. What is the use of a statue if it cannot keep the rain off? He said. I must look for a good chimney pot, and he determined to fly away. But before he had opened his wing, a third drop fell, and he looked up and saw, what did he see, children? Now from here I am going to explain the lesson. Page number 29, third paragraph. Okay. The eyes of the happy prince were filled with tears, and tears were running down his golden cheeks. So, children, what did he saw? He saw that the eyes of the happy prince was there. It was filled with tears, and tears were running down his golden cheeks. His face was so beautiful in the moonlight that the little swallow was filled with pity. Who are you? He said. I am the happy prince. Why are you weeping then, Master Swallow? You have quite drenched me. Now the swallow told, if you are happy, then why are you crying? Um, you have quite drenched me. When I was alive and had a human heart, answered the statue, I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace where sorrow is not allowed to enter. So he told to Swallow when he was alive, he was staying in the beautiful palace where he did not know what the sorrow was, what the tears were. And there the swallows were not allowed to enter. My courtiers called me the happy prince, and happy indeed I was. He told that all his courtiers called him happy prince, and he was indeed the happy prince. So I lived and so I died, and now that I am dead, they have set me up here so high that I can see the ugliness and all the misery of my city. And though my heart is made of lead, yet I cannot choose but weep. So he is telling, now I am dead. The people has placed me on the in the center of the city. My statue has been made. I'm covered with gold. My eyes are made of sapphire. But I can feel, I can see the ugliness and all the misery of my city. And though my heart is made of lead, yet I cannot choose but weep. What, is he not solid gold? Said the swallow to himself. He was too polite to make any personal remark. Far away, continued the statue in a low musical noise. Suddenly the swallow thought that whether he is not of solid gold, but the statue did not the swallow did not make any personal remark, neither the statue replied. But a voice was heard, a musical voice was heard coming from the statue. And what did the statue told the swallow? Far away in a little street, there is a poor house. One of the window is open, and through it I can see a woman seated at a table. So he tells me far away in the city, a woman is sitting on the table and seated at a table. Her face is thin and worn. Worn means very tired, and she has coarse red hands, all pricked by the needle. And she is telling her coarse, where her hands were very what to say. She was having a very rough hand, and her whole hand was pricked by the needle, for she is a seamstress. So the prince told that she is a seamstress. Her whole hand is pricked by the needle, and her face is very tired and worn out. Okay, so here children, pricked means pierce. Seamstress means who does the work of a tailoring. Seamstress here means who does the work of tailoring. Then pricked means pierced. Okay, so Prince told that she is a seamstress, and she is very tired, and she is doing continuously, she is working. She is sitting at a table. Her face is thin and worn, and she has coarse red hands, all pricked by the needle. She is a seamstress. She is embroidering flower on a satin gown for the loveliest of the queen's maid of honor. Now what she is doing, children, she is embroidering. She is embroidering flowers on a satin gown for the loveliest of the queen's maid of honor to wear at the next court ball. In a bed in the corner of the room, her little boy is lying ill. He has a fever and he is asking his mother to give him oranges. Now that her son is very ill, he is suffering from fever, he is asking to have oranges from his mother, but since she was not having money, in fact she has nothing to give him but river water. So he is crying. The happy prince, when he saw, his heart was full of pity. He told Swallow to fly. He told little Swallow, will you not bring her the ruby out of my sword head? My feet are fastened to this pedestal and I cannot move. So he told the Swallow to take the ruby from his sword hilt, and since his legs, he is a statue, he cannot move, that's why he cannot go. I am waited for in Egypt, said the Swallow. My friends are flying up and down the Nile and taking to the large lotus flowers and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep. Now, at first the Swallow replied that my friends have flown to the Egypt. Okay, my friends are flying up and down the Nile. Nile is the river in Egypt. Egypt is a country. I think everybody know where the great mummies and the pyramids are there. So he is telling, I am waited in for Egypt. My friends are flying up and down the Nile and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep. And he is telling that they are talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep. The prince asked the Swallow to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. The boy is so thirsty and the mother so said, he said. Now the prince told the Swallow to stay with him for one more night and he is a messenger. The boy is so thirsty and the mother so sad, he said. I don't think I like boys, answered the Swallow. I want to go to Egypt. Now the Swallow told that I don't like boys, I don't want to help them. But the happy prince looked so sad that the little Swallow was sorry. He told, it is very cold here, he said, but he agreed to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. Thank you, little Swallow, said the prince. So the Swallow, so children, the prince looked so sad that he told, it is very cold here, he said. And the Swallow, he was so full of pity that he wanted to help the happy prince now. He wanted to be his messenger. The prince thanked the little Swallow. The Swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword, flew away with it in his beak over the roof of the town. Now children, the Swallow did what exactly the prince wanted. Okay, he wanted that the Swallow should give the ruby to the mother, to the seamstress whose son was having fever and they had nothing to eat. So the Swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roof of the town. He passed by the cathedral tower where the white marble angels were sculptured. So he passed over the children's church where the marbles sculptured means made with hands, that the angels of the marbles were sculptured. Sculptured means made with hands. Okay. He passed by the palace and heard the sound of dancing. A beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover. I hope my dress will be ready in time for the state ball, she said. I have ordered flowers to be embroidered on it, but the seamstresses are so lazy. And children, when he was passing by the palace, he heard the sound of it dancing. A beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover. and she told her lover, I hope my dress will be ready in time for the state ball. She said, I've ordered flowers to be embroidered on it, but the seamstresses are so lazy, not aware the fact that um, how much work they are doing. He passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging on the mast of the ship. So he flew. He took the ruby in his hand and he flew over the river and saw the lanterns hanging on the mast of the ships. At last he came to the poor woman's house and looked in. The boy was tossing feverishly on his bed, and the mother had fallen asleep. She was so tired in he hoped and laid the great ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble. Then he flew gently round the bed, fanning the boy's forehead with his wings. How cool I feel, said the boy. I must be getting better. And he sank into a delicious slumber. Now, children, he put the ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble. Okay. Now, thimble. Thimble is the children where we put. So, children, that lady, she was so tired that she slept. In he hoped, and he laid the great ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble. Then he flew gently round the bed, fanning the boy's forehead with his wing. And that poor and kind fellow, he started fanning the boy's forehead with his wing. How cool I feel, said the boy. I must be getting better. When the boy started feeling cold, he thought that how cool I am feeling. I must be getting better. Then he sank into a delicious slumber. Okay, so he started sleeping now. He fell into a slumber. Slumber means sleep. Now, when the day broke, he flew down to the river and had a bath. Now, children, the day was there. The sailor took a bath. Tonight I go to Egypt, said the sailor, and he was in high spirit at the prospect. Now he told, today my first day is over. I have helped the prince. I became his messenger for one day as I promised to him. And today I will go to Egypt. He was very excited that he would be visiting his friend. He visited all the monuments and sat a long time on top of the church steeple. So children, he saw all the monuments in that city. And finally, at last, he was sitting in the church steeple. Steeple means minaret of the church. Okay. And when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. And when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. Have you any commission for Egypt? He cried, I'm just starting. So he told, now I'm going to Egypt. If you won't have anything to tell me, which I can do for you in Egypt, you can tell me. Salo, Salo, little Salo, said the prince, will you stay with me one night longer? Now the prince requested him, for one more night, can you stay with me? I'm wanted for in Egypt, answered the Salo. Now the Salo told that everybody is waiting for me in Egypt. Salo, Salo, little Salo, said the prince, far away across the city, I see a young man in a garret. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in the glass by his side there is a bunch of withered flower. So he told that Salo, I can see a young man in a garret. Okay, garret is a children attic, a room at the top in the terrace. He is leaning over a desk covered with paper, and he is sleeping over papers. And in the glass by his side there is a bunch of withered violet. Withered means dry. Violet is a type of flower. He is telling that there is a bunch of withered violet. His hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as pomegranate. Now his hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as pomegranate. He has a large and dreamy eyes. He is trying to finish a play for the director of the theatre, but he is too cold to write anymore. There is no fire in the garret, and hunger has made him faint. I will wait with you one night longer, said the Sallow, who really had a good heart. He asked if he should take another ruby to the young playwright. Alas, I have no ruby now, said the prince. My eyes are all that I have left. They are made of rare sapphire, which were brought out of India 1,000 years ago. So he told him, my eyes is made of a very rare piece of sapphire, which was brought from India 1,000 years ago. He ordered the Sallow to pluck out one of them and take it to the playwright. He told the Sallow to pluck one of the sapphire and take it to the playwright. He will sell it to the jeweler and buy firewood and finish his play. And he will sell that sapphire to the jeweler. He will buy some firewood and finish his play, he said. Dear prince, said the Sallow, I cannot do that. And he began to weep. Now, Sallow told, okay, I cannot do that. Children, it is not that he wanted to go to Egypt. In fact, he did not want that the prince should become blind. So but Sallow, Sallow, little Sallow, said the prince, do as I command you. So the prince told, uh, do as I am commanding you. So the Sallow plucked out the prince's eyes and flew away to the young man's garret. Poor Sallow, he plucked out the prince's eyes and flew away to the young man's garret. It was easy enough to get in, as there was a hole in the roof. Through this he darted and came into the room. So from where he darted, okay, darted means came to a straw, and so he then the Sallow darted and came to the young man's room. The young man had his head buried in his hand. So the young man, he was having his head buried in his hand. So he did not hear the flutter of the bird wing, and when he looked up, he found the beautiful sapphire lying on the withered violet. So when he found, what did he found? The beautiful sapphire lying on the withered violet. I am beginning to be appreciated, he cried. This is from some great admirer. Now I can finish my play, and he looked quite happy. Now, children, when he saw that sapphire, he thought, now he was thinking that this is from my admirer, from my great admirer, and I am now being recognized by the people. And with lot of enthusiasm, he started writing his story once again. So, I am going to Egypt now, the Sallow tell, cried the Sallow, but nobody minded. And when the moon rose, he flew back to the Hippo Prince. Now again, when it was night, the Sallow wanted to say goodbye to the Happy Prince, and he told Happy Prince, I have come to bid you goodbye. He told the prince that I have come to you to say goodbye. Sallow, Sallow, little Sallow, said the prince, will you not stay with me one night longer? It is winter, answered the Swallow, and the snow will soon be here. In Egypt the sun is warm on the green palm trees, and the crocodile lie in the mud and look lazily about them. Now children, it is winter, answered the Swallow, and the snow will soon be here in Egypt. The sun is warm on the green palm trees, and the crocodile lie in the mud and look lazily about them. But the prince told, in the square below, said the Happy Prince, there stand a little match girl. A match girl is standing there. She has let her matches fall in the gutter, and all her matches has fallen into the gutter, and they are all spoiled. They're all spoiled. Her father will beat her if she does not bring home some matches. Now the prince is telling her father will beat her if she will not bring the matches and the money, if she will not bring the money, and that's why she is crying. She has no shoes or stocking, and she is without shoes or stocking, and her little head is bare. Pluck out my other eyes and give it to her, and her father will not beat her. Now he is still requesting Sallow to give her one of her sapphire, so that her father will not beat her. I will stay with you one night longer, said the Sallow, but I cannot pluck out your eyes. You would be quite blind then. So the prince told, now I cannot stay with you. I would like to stay with you. Sorry, I would like to stay for one more night, but I cannot plug your eyes, because then I don't want you to see that you should become complete blind. So I will stay with you always. No. But the prince requested him, do as I command you. So he plucked out the prince's other eyes and darted down with it. And children, he darted means came at a straw. And children, and he swooped past the match girl and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand. And what happened, children? He flew round the match girl and put quickly, in fact, dropped the sapphire into the palm of a little girl. Uh, uh, what a lovely piece of glass, cried the little girl, and she ran home laughing. Now she was so happy. She did not knew that it was expensive stone sapphire. She thought it's a beautiful piece of lovely stone. She went to her house laughing. अरे हर्षित, और इतना देर से क्यों जाती हो? हाँ?
अरे नींदी रात में वो गर्मी की आई।
तो तुम इधर आ जाते हैं, हम तो डर के मारे एसी नहीं चलाते हैं। ये कह रहे हैं एक वीडियो बनाए, वो देख नहीं रहा है, कैसे भेजे? पूरा आधा घंटा 1 घंटा मार्क कर रहे हैं और अभी दिख ही नहीं रहा है।
मेमोरी चेक करती नहीं हूँ।
नहीं तो अगर मेमोरी में वो होता है तो वो आ जाता है मैसेज लेके कि नो स्पेस, नो इनफ स्पेस। इसमें तो आराम से हो रहा था। मैं चेक कर लूँ तो हमको फिर टाइम भी नहीं, फिर मेरा पैसा कट जाएगा यार आधा। क्या हुआ?
अरे कुछ नहीं।
ये क्यों ले जा रहे हो ये वाला व्हाइट?
चार्ज मुझे मोबाइल।
So student, that's all for today, and I conclude my video now. Now I will teach next part in my next class. Goodbye.